don't know if it's just me, but every once in a while I turn on a movie on streaming and I am just at a loss of words how much garbage churn we get these days. Latest example of that was a film on Paramount Plus called Shell. I remember this movie coming out about a month or so ago to AMC briefly. I didn't get around to seeing it, but since I like to catch up on everything I didn't see in theaters on streaming when I can, I decided to turn it on. And it's kind of funny how the universe works, you know? I feel like sometimes the universe conspires for certain things to happen. Maybe there was a good reason I didn't see this film. Maybe there was a reason I chose to do anything but this film. But here I am. I've been fucking duped again.
Oh, give it a rest, Zoe. But Sam, the optics.
So the movie Shell stars Elizabeth Moss and Kate Hudson about this character named Samantha Lake. She is an aging actress in Hollywood. We all know how unfair that goes for aging women in Hollywood. It's all but expected you turn into a lizard person, get plastic surgery, all of that nonsense. But yeah, she's aging, she's struggling to find work, and because of this, she undergoes an anti-aging experiment, much like The Substance, where she's going to stop aging almost entirely. She befriends this mogul played by Kate Hudson who runs this beauty empire, where she eventually finds out there is a monstrous secret lurking below the surface. At least that's the way this movie is described, but really what it is, the only thing lurking below the surface is the turd that this movie was. I don't know what they were doing. The easiest way to describe it would be to call it a dollar store version of The Substance, except I don't even think that's doing it fair because it's almost so different from The Substance because it's not filmed creatively, it's not funny, which is important because one of the reasons I turned this film on is because I was scrolling a streaming platform tired really late at night, and this movie is labeled as a comedy. Let me tell you, it's not comedic. There's nothing funny about this film. Whoever labeled this, fire him. But I digress. I turned the film on. It's more of a satirical horror comedy, if anything. It does get pretty bloody in the second half, but there's nothing funny about this film. If you just find satirical content funny, maybe this falls as a comedy, but as for actual jokes and laughing, absolute deadpan. I didn't even smirk. It is kind of structured like The Substance, where it starts off kind of believable, then it goes full satire into a batshit insane third act, which I will say I actually kind of enjoyed the third act of this film because the rest of the movie is such a fucking slog to get through. When you get to the third act, it is pretty gnarly and it just gets to the point you are so checked out that you will take any breadcrumb of entertainment. So the end of the movie is fairly entertaining, I think, if you can make it there. But where The Substance chooses to be like a satirical body horror film, this movie is much more of a satirical creature feature in the second half. So it's pretty much inevitable that you'll compare the two films, but since this movie is rated so much worse, it's clear where the majority of audience and critics stand. So the way this movie plays out is you have Samantha as a character. She undergoes this anti-aging experiment, and then she starts to suffer increasingly worse monstrous side effects as the movie goes on. That is because the backbone of this experiment is taking the cells or something related to crustaceans and injecting them into humans. Because of the way that crustaceans can regrow their shells and skin, the idea is to kind of mutate that into human cells so that humans can stop aging and regrow their skin at a rapid level. Pretty sure the science there does not check out, but the movie's so dumb, I'm pretty sure it requires you be dumb to enjoy it. If you're a huge fan of the two leads in here, maybe give this one a look just for them, but even as a fan of theirs usually, I don't think there was really anything here that stands out. Now, I could get into the particulars about this film and what it looks like and the acting and all of that stuff about what this movie means, but really what drove me up the wall with this film is it's trying to do what The Substance did, where it's trying to do a satirical look on beauty and aging and accepting how we look, but at no point in the film does she even look any different after the procedure. I guess it's told to her this will stop your aging, but she's the same fucking person after the procedure. So I don't understand what this movie was trying to explore when it comes to like your inner beauty or what you used to look like and wanting to change. She's the same person before and after the procedure. They just tell you she got the procedure. So this woman basically signed up to get side effects. There's nothing visible at all. She had like a rash that goes away, but that's about it. So the entire backbone of the story and what you're supposed to buy into and the way these people change, it just looks like the same person. There was absolutely no transformation there. So the way the movie plays out, you're just spending time with this character. Every once in a while, there will be a joke that doesn't hit. You'll see some physical side effect, like some bumps or some bruises, and she'll meet up with Kate Hudson's character who runs this empire, and she'll tell her about it, and Kate Hudson will tell her, oh, we can take care of the side effects. But she's about as convincing as a lizard wearing human skin because it's so obvious that her character is like evil or there's something bad about her because there's just nothing going on with these procedures besides terrible things every scene you see. So the movie never manages to get anywhere near the substance when it comes to trying to do commentary or say something unique about this concept. It just comes off as this very watered down lifestyle version of a creature feature. And my apologies if I've already mentioned the substance about 30 times, but in that film it makes a lot more sense. It's a lot more believable she'd do this because of the fact that she is an aging aerobics instructor and somebody who's modeling for the most part. In this film, Samantha is just a straight up actress. So selling me on the fact that actors who age, like actors and actresses, they just cannot find work, totally unbelievable to me. We need older characters in movies and films. So as you can see, we're starting to stack up now why this movie is ridiculous. Labeled a comedy, not funny, unbelievable interactions between all of these characters. The motivations don't make any sense. The characters don't look any different. So this movie is attempting to be this elevated commentary, but it just feels like a lowbrow Lifetime movie. And maybe this was why it was labeled a comedy, but it's doing that thing a lot of movies are trying to do now where they just inject incredibly raunchy dialogue into the film. There's about 10 scenes of this film talking about orgasms. It feels like the director sucks at writing smut as bad as they suck at writing dialogue. The movie also attempts a couple of red herrings and twists, but it's so predictable in where it's going because they actually show you. It's one of these films where they show you an outer perspective watching what's going on. So all of the stuff they're trying to do in relation to that twist is already disclosed like 30 minutes prior in the movie, so it goes absolutely nowhere. But the magnum opus of this film has to be the ending, because the procedure is related to crabs and crustaceans, as I said. And they decide to turn this movie, much like The Substance, into an absolute bloodbath. And in that film, there was body horror. In this film, they turn somebody into a giant fucking crab who goes around ripping people limb by limb and dragging them off into the darkness. Now, I would be lying if I said it wasn't entertaining, because up until that point, I was sleeping with my eyes open. So once I stopped snoring and I woke up and I was awake for the third act, I thought it was pretty damn gnarly, to be honest. If the movie would have just been this asinine creature feature, probably would have been pretty damn fun. But the disappointing thing is it takes until the final 20 minutes to get there. So whether or not you want to subject yourself to the torture of the first half, that is up to you, but I do not recommend. I leave with this. Shell is just another one of these films that's trying to be a little bit elevated and it's trying to say something important while it's kind of just too lowbrow and it's not committed to the bit enough for it to be entertaining or enlightening. Another modern movie that really just has no idea what it's trying to do, even to the point they don't label it right on the streaming service. So how can you expect the cast and the director to know what to do if even the people who label the film don't know what it is? It feels like nobody knew what this movie was. But even not knowing what it was, I will tell you this, I do not recommend it. Shell is dog shit. So maybe a little bit late to the party on this one, but if I can save even one person the time of streaming this, then I'll feel like I did my moral obligation. If you liked the video, like, comment, subscribe down below, and comment what the last good movie was you watched on streaming. I am in the biggest drought ever, and I need something good, so give me your recommendations. I will see you in the next video. Peace!